Hello, hello, hello. I will be coming on soon. Just getting some things set up like the title and the description, which I always forget until after I start the live. Right, I always get that messed up. But I'm gonna go live soon and feature the video soon. Just doing some things. Feel free to let your social network know or anybody, any of your peers know that this motherfucker going live again. People would mention it's been quite some time since I've made some videos, and you're damn right it has been. So, a few minor adjustments. Let's hope this don't disturb. What's up? How you doing? How you doing tonight? How you doing? I was actually supposed to is my mic recording? Let me turn that down. I was actually supposed to make this live yesterday. I posted it on my Facebook, but I was gonna go make a live and I didn't do it. And then today a power outage strikes and it shuts down my projects that I had open and things that I was working on. So that's always fun. That's always fun. Like, yeah, the Mac typically recovers it, but it doesn't always capture everything that it's supposed to do. Not on my particular model. So I'm allowing a little bit more time for viewership. But the topic is Black female rage. Black female rage meets steroids. And this actually kind of echoes off of what I was talking about in the last video, or at least trying to, and I'm going to continue to keep trying to. Because, like I said, the hormone culture of transitioning is almost like, it's unbearable, it's overbearing. It's the assumption that you're supposed to, not even when you decide you don't want to continue, it's this assumption that you're supposed to want to, and if you don't want to, then there's something wrong with you. But it's never taken into account all the various reasons why all of us cannot have hormone replacement therapy, or why all of us do not enjoy hormone replacement therapy in spite of the positive things that it gives us. I've had people ask me, just because I decided to stop hormone treatment for a number of years, that they said, well, are you detransitioning? Are you stopping this? Are you doing that? And I just, first of all, my transition was never started upon the basis of having hormones. And I don't just mean my transition, but the acquisition of my life, like as myself, as my own, was never mine just because of the introduction of hormones. That it doesn't make sense. Motherfucking Xavier was here before I looked like what I look like. I'm gonna be here when I look like whatever the hell I look like when I leave. When I leave this world, when I go out. Give a fuck about no hormone. But what happens? Who knows, right? Who knows what really happens? But that's the thing. We don't talk about it, I actually saw somebody saying, like, it was a trans woman. It was a shared post, and she was saying something like, stop coming around asking for surveys. There's enough information. You can find that, stop asking us for surveys to follow this survey and do that. And I'm like, well, I wish somebody would ask me some questions. I wish that you could pass those people my way. Like, if you're getting too many questions, sis, too many surveys done, sis, like, literally tell them to come check out your brothers, like, because people are not surveying us. If anybody's surveying us, it's ourselves. The surveys I've seen go around are literally almost 100% of the time a white trans man's survey that they're putting together for like a school project, because they're at a university and they're trying to introduce trans topics to the schools. But the opportunities we have, even of a lot of cases being receiving that information really hinges upon the fact of whether or not we are exposed to white culture. A lot of us are not outside of the internet. I live in a predominantly black neighborhood. Nobody who ain't white and don't live here already ain't coming here. So these surveys are not coming through here. These resources that trans men supposedly have ain't coming through here, sis. So please don't hesitate. If you getting too many motherfuckers trying to interview trans women, tell them, hey, you got some brothers that's looking for some that's trying to pass off information, that's trying to get services, that's trying to have opportunities to speak with service providers. Because we definitely need that. If you don't think we need that, then I need you to talk to a black female. And hello, you have a used to be black female sitting right here in front of you. So I'm just gonna say is this, like, there's like this notion that once you go on hormones, like, oh, it's roid rage all after that, and that's just really not the truth. And I'm not gonna say that is completely a lie. For some people, that is the truth, that going on hormones sort of unleashes the more aggressive side, the more aggressive components, the ability to confront things, to have courage, but also to be overbearing, to be assholes, to be ridiculous. That's actually the case for a lot of the guys once they get on T. Unfortunately, not all the guys, just a good decent amount, but I do think that has to do with the culture of toxic masculinity. I do think that has to do with the culture of there not being a training of mentalities for men. There not being a training of presentation and identification of how are men showing up, how are they expected to show up, right? Which sort of influences the choices that they will make, because if they're not showing up in a way that's expected, they know they don't have access to food, water, or attractive mates or desired mates, because they're not showing up in the ways that society is suggesting that they should and that they need to do in order to benefit from it. And that's something I think about a lot. Is the dynamic of toxic masculinity and the absence of meditation, the absence of peacemaking, the absence of passiveness being a positive thing. And not to say to be completely a pacifist, to be completely removed from being involved in taking physical action, is to say that we have to pursue other routes. So yes, we can move in spaces of anger, but how are we move in anger? How are we being, what's the word? Like the Avatar is. He is a bender. How are we bending our emotions? How are we bending anger? How are we bending these things until they subside into something that is more reasonable? And what's really not there is the conversation, the mentality, what men need to know about themselves. That information absolutely is not there. The same way I felt sort of out there in the world and not prepared to be a female-bodied person, not prepared to take on the functions of what the body will do when it's predominantly feminized. I'm going to say I felt the same way transitioning into a masculine space, because the components are different. There is a greater presence of a probability of aggression. The hormone definitely will trigger itself, has a likelihood, a probability of being triggered a lot greater than estrogen alone. However, there's still that personal component, right? That personal self component, which utilizes anything that's in the body in the way that it chooses to. So, myself now, what typically happens, and somebody might disagree, but this has been a long time coming, but what typically happens when I get upset or angry is I feel it in my body and I immediately take a snapshot of the moment before I was irritated and the moment where I am irritated, and I remember those two very different states very well. And when I want to transition back into the other, I do so, but it can take some time. It's taking meditation to do that. It's taking my own practice of observation and sort of tracking and controlling myself. It's taking the reflections of the people that I've dated or have been in very intimate settings with for long periods of time, because most people don't get to see my real temperament. That's not something I just show to people. Just be fucking cuz. Like, for what? I'm getting out of that, coming more out, I guess you could say, but let me get back over here to the YouTube dashboard. Hey, if you're watching, always speak up. I really do appreciate a nice little hello in the chat. I really always appreciate it. You know, what's up? How you doing? Nice topic. You know, I like some feedback to know what's happening in the audience. Okay, I like to know what's going on. Yes, I'm sitting on my desk. Okay, my dog can do it. I can do it. Okay, so well, not all things. But I originally posted a status. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for this. When a black female rage meets steroids and a male identity. That was the entire title. When a black female rage meets steroids and a male identity. And I posted further. She was a real human being, a real entity. She gets to say if or when she's been angry because of a history of hurt. And a community which acts to not acknowledge it, I speak for her as I am him, no mask. And I say that I speak for her as I am him because the thing is, nobody was listening to me talk when I was her. Nobody was taking it seriously when I was her. If there was a problem, nobody was rushing. Nobody was listening. Now there's a greater probability that I might end up in jail for anything. It's literally criminal to be poor, to be black, to have mental illness or wellness issues. It's criminal to be hungry. It's punishable to not have as much money in your account. It's punishable, and trust me, I know this because I live next to the hood, but I also live in the areas where I can have access to non-hood shit. And they are spanking the hood, nigga. They are spanking that ass. They are taxing the shit out the hood, my nigga. You know, so I'm used to being in a lot of different situations as far as gender presentation or identity and how people respond to me. I'm used to being in different social classes, economic classes, along all these different lines of gender, right? So it's very fucking interesting. But the one thing that is persistent is this fucking rage. That has nothing to do with hormones. It has to do with the fact that I'm aware of the world around me, and it's a cycle of created bullshit. It's a cycle of created bullshit. That's a breathful. That is it's a cycle of bullshit that has been created and handed down to us, and it is historical. So you talk about a black female becoming male, and suddenly your world opening up. Suddenly you have more traveling options. You know, to me, it's almost like a social experiment where, you know, I think in China or Japan or somewhere, they're doing a social credit thing, and based on how you're rated and how good your social credit is, you get access to different opportunities, and you get access to different benefits before other people. And that's kind of like what it is. It's like because I got a male social recognition, suddenly I got all these points added to my account, and I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything fucking different. But that being male gets you these automatic points. And to think a motherfucker didn't see this before they transitioned, but to really then embody it afterwards, like, whoa, nigga, it's like getting a new suit. It's like getting an Iron Man suit out here that you could just, there's certain things you can do, but let's just be honest, there's certain things you can't. Like, I like to interact with children because I'm playful, but now it's fucking weird to people. Like, it's weird as hell to people. So it's like now it's this is fucked up culture, like this fucked up fear where, I'm not saying it's fucked up, but it's just this fear where everybody's afraid of everybody, particularly a black man. And everyone is willing to undermine a black female or a black woman, including the black man. Any motherfucker who argue with that is exactly the fucking problem. They're arguing instead of listening. They're arguing instead of looking for facts. They're arguing instead of looking for proof. And to even just say, like, maybe it's not 100% the way that I'm insisting that, oh, all black men are helping out. Y'all not. And it's just upsetting that, you know, I've had to mature a lot quicker before even transition. I've had to mature and then to transition, and then I know I have to hold that level of maturity. But then I run into men my age who just, I'm not going to say they're not mature, but I'm going to say they don't give a fuck about shit. Like, if they can't fuck something, or if they can't get a salary from it, they don't give a fuck about it. So that means if they can't fuck you, they're not helping you even while you're pursuing services. If they can't look at your pussy, if they can't, I'm just being real. I'm saying shit that probably makes some people uncomfortable. But if they can't look at you, they can't masturbate about you when they go home. If they can't talk to about their boy, like if they can't do something with you, they don't want nothing to do with you. And so you talk about somebody that was black female coming up in these situations as now they're welcome into these bro spaces with dudes. I'm not your friend. I'm not. These steroids are not going to change my alliance with the fact that, and my understanding of the fact that we got bigger shit, bigger fish to be frying, and I'm aware of what these niggas is thinking about and talking about and doing. That's enough to piss you off. You know, somebody who relates to the life of their mothers and the women in their families, but has this ability to walk the road as a man, is to be seen as a man, but is always processing through that filter. I always have an openness to that filter before I have anything. That's my first place that I come from and understand it, primarily because I know it's a place that not everybody's seeking to understand. It's not a place that everyone is seeking to even be understood, because we are told that, you know, it's a lot of shit that you're not going to get as a black female, so you might as well just do what you can to help your neighborhood, and that's, you know, give your body away to whether it be to this unfair work system, or to doing services here and there for your family, you know, cooking, cleaning, this and that. So you're always supposed to be giving yourself away to something. Meanwhile, men are told nothing about responsibility. You know, they're told about how to carry themselves, but they're not told necessarily how to give a fuck about their community and what it matters to do things in a very personable manner, right? To not be so concerned about where your dick is going in. Unfortunately, though, if you're not teaching people meditation, that's just obviously absolutely something that they're not going to grasp overnight. You know, being a man of a certain age is not enough to be mature. It's not enough to be a progressive member of society. Yeah, you're working, but you're working in a job that is actually demonizing your neighborhood. You're demonizing everyone around you with your job title. So you're not actually giving back to your community. Even that taxed money they taking up off you, you're not contributing shit. Like, anybody could do your job, and that's why we're being replaced by fucking computers and shit, because we're not doing anything that the system can't perform for itself. And so when you talk about all these happy Negroes, because I live next to where there's a lot of government jobs. I live over here where people are just doing stuff and there's all this bureaucracy and nobody knows where everything's amounting to, because everybody has a small part in it. So as long as everybody's doing a small piece, they feel like they're doing a good job, but nobody knows what this job is amounting to, right? So, but that's my question, is if you can't even see the results come back to your neighborhood, what the fuck is your career really building? Like, yeah, you'll get a pat on the back, but what is your career really encompassing of? And these are just thoughts that I have, and I have had well before the introduction of hormones. But what happens when all that shit meets a male identity? Well, you have a motherfucking double agent is what you get. You have a nigga who will do all kinds of things and is choosing to do some of this. You have a guy who may not even say transgender when he's interacting with people, but he knows how to sort of navigate and persuade individuals how to be more inclusive without saying explicitly I'm transgender, right? And I'm always going to say, like, I really do appreciate when people can appreciate us. Excuse me, us are some of the hidden figures behind some of these movements who do not look a certain way, who are often not even invited to spaces, and because we look a certain way, because it's assumed that we live a certain lifestyle based on how we appear. It's almost like once you transition as a trans man, you have to try extremely hard to continue to appear queer or to stay connected to that community, because it's like once you transition, okay, as a lesbian, they don't want to fuck with you unless they can fuck you or hold on to some part of your identity. You know, bisexuals, hey, no problems there. Not for the most part. Gay men, that there's the issues there. You know, you talk about with trans people, being a trans person who is not binary, being a trans person who is, you know, these motherfuckers always beefing about something, but I'm trying to stay on topic, and I told you I need interaction. Like, if you're not going to talk back to me, then I'm just going to kind of go everywhere. But I do appreciate your watching. But this is always going to be an ongoing conversation. It's never going to just start and end at one time. Because that's just how I am. Like I said, it's dialogue, it's conversation. This is not just a YouTube video. This is the things that I talk about with my family, the things that I talk about with anybody who comes into my life. And that's including strangers. You know, that's including the guy on the street. Yeah, she got a fat ass. No, bro, I'm not participating in that. Not with random dudes on the street, you know. No, because these motherfuckers, it's crazy. I'm just saying, these motherfuckers is crazy. You got all these girls being kidnapped, all these kids going missing. Somebody knows something, because you think about how the hood don't sleep. Niggas is, or somebody is always out on a corner somewhere. Or somebody is always watching and paying attention. Somebody knows the new vehicles that's coming around. Somebody knows the old vehicles. You know this motherfucker been running routes, and you know who went missing in at what hour. So you think about the fact that these motherfuckers not talking, but you got all these girls missing. Girls they probably watch grow up. Girls they know. There's a lot to think about. You know, anything that's affecting females, anything that's affecting women, I'm definitely worried. I'm always concerned. And I'm always concerned for what affects a man. However, I'm also going to say these niggas ain't concerned about themselves. Is the number of ashy ankles I see and ashy fucking hands I see on a daily basis. No. 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 These motherfuckers don't care. Motherfuckers do not care. Let me find my lighter. I'm gonna burn this sage right quick. I know my microphone probably loud as shit, because it's just always fucking loud. When they meet steroids and the female identity, you know, I thought it was interesting. Someone else I noticed finally, I'm sorry to talk about your story in this way, bro, without talking. I'm not naming no names and nothing, but he did a similar thing where he had to decided he was going to sell his weight, his weight set. Because he felt he had, for a long time, subjected himself to bodily standards and expectations that just were not native to his environment. They weren't conducive to him being himself. And I said, that's exactly why the fuck I went off hormones when I did. Like I said, this has been over 4 years. Again, I don't know the exact time. Between 2012 and 2013. Dog just jumped off the bed and slid on the floor. It's cute. Between 2012 and 2013, I went off hormones. And because I felt that I was subjecting myself to unrealistic expectations, things that my body just cannot do, physically is not capable of. Things that I shouldn't be capable of, and recognizing it's not so much to just working out, you're manipulating your mental health every time you exercise, right? So I look at my body and I'm like, I don't want to be in too much of a certain kind of shape, because then my brain functions differently. My heart is different. My reactions are different. Who I am is different. Sometimes I need to keep a little fat on my body, or to not lose too much fat at a specific rate, just because if I lose it too quickly, it's going to have effect on here, because you know a lot of the shit in your brain is made up out of fat, right? Omega-3 fatty acids, I think. But your brain is made up of a lot of the shit you eat. And if I'm sitting here constricting myself to goddamn juicing, I'm constricting myself to fucking juicing, then yeah, it's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna have a little bit of a different brain process and how I communicate and relate to things, how things affect me, my how I respond to stimuli is gonna be different, because this is a different makeup in my body at that time. But I love your little sounds. Hey, dog. Yeah, I told you. Don't be jumping on stuff. Hey, get down. Get down. Don't do it. You about to jump on this keyboard and mess up all kinds of stuff. But I appreciate y'all watching. I'm not going to sit here too long rambling. Like I said, I appreciate when people interact. If you don't interact, then it is what it is. So thank you for watching. I'm going to talk to you all later. Please feel free to come in the comment section and ask your questions or make your statements, whatever the case may be. But I appreciate you for watching. Peace. 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 All the way peace. Thanks.